After 3 episodes of Ahsoka and a fan base that's a little bit divided on what they feel about this show, episode 4 needed to be big. There needed to be a big reel. There needed to be a big hook. There needed to be a big pop. Something for this series, which for the first 3 episodes has felt incredibly lackluster. Well, I think it's safe to say that episode 4 is probably going to give people that in a big way at the very, very end. Now, I do think that episode 4 of the Ahsoka series by far is the best one we've had, mostly because it has the most action in terms of fighting. We knew that was going to be the case leading up to it. We'd seen in the trailers. We knew this was going to be the episode. We saw a lot of these matchups, a lot of these face-offs. But a lot of fighting means not as much terrible dialogue, so we didn't get as much of that in Ahsoka. But the one thing that everyone is going to be talking about after this is the very last scene. And I'm going to give you a spoiler warning right now. I'm going to reveal it. I'm sure you've seen it. If you've been on social media, you probably know. But I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So here is your opportunity. The very end scene. It honestly doesn't even matter what happened in the first 30 minutes of this episode. The last scene is going to be the pop that everyone is talking about, and it's one that everyone should have seen coming for a long time. Here it is. Anakin is back. Now, in what way is Anakin back? In what way is Hayden Christensen back? I guess that'll be left for next week, but Ahsoka, after what seemed to be a death or near-death experience, something like that, has now found herself somehow in the world between worlds and is greeted by no other than Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. We're going to get into this whole thing. We're going to break down the entire episode, but certainly there's going to be a lot of buzz on social media. The question will be, does anyone actually tune in to watch this episode of Ahsoka? The ratings have not been good for this show, and I think for good reason, to be honest. But let's get into this. Now, if you remember where we left off after they had made their escape and not really crash landed, but were able to land on the planet Cetos to try to track down Baylan and Shin with the map to Ezra and Thrawn. And we're right back there. They're trying to repair the ship. They're trying to repair the communication system to talk to Hera, which Hera will appear later in this episode. Don't worry about that. You have Hu Yang doing his best to try to fix the ship along with Sabine. But they're really not able to get any communication going. That is the priority. Get the communication working. Sabine and Ahsoka have this discussion outside. Basically, hey, we need to go find them. We need to go hunt them down. Their base isn't that far away. It's within walking distance. We can get there. And Ahsoka has to have this discussion with Sabine. Hey, you know, if it comes down to it, we might have to make a choice. They have the map to Thrawn, and that's also the map to Ezra, but we kind of need to make sure that if we are not able to gain control of it, at least we don't let them have control of it, which makes sense, right? Ezra's the one that sacrificed himself to get Thrawn away from the galaxy. Ahsoka knows that they need to make sure Thrawn doesn't come back. And she even drops the fucking line that I hated in the trailers, that I've been pissed off this entire time. Sabine's worried about stranding Ezra forever if they destroy this map. And what does Ahsoka respond with?
Out there. Maybe this time for good.
Better that than allowing Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
Ah, yes. Got to get the heir to the Empire line just to make sure we know where we bastardized this character from. And Sabine says it's not going to come to that, blah, blah, blah. Well, what do you know? It does come to that a little bit later on. And as Ahsoka's kind of looking out there, you do see when Hu Yang comes out to try to work on the outside of the ship, you see a mysterious figure right there on the edge. It looks like might be one of those droids that we saw in the first few episodes. Fast forward to where Morgan Elsbeth and Shin and Baylan are hanging out. And basically, Shin and Morgan are going to do the map. They're going to try to get the coordinates locked down. Not sure what took them so long to get all this done, but they decided to wait until this very moment. And now they're going to start doing it. They send Shin and Marok, the mysterious Inquisitor. So many people had theories about that. People wonder, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Spoiler alert, massive fucking letdown, which we will get to that. They are supposed to go and slow down Ahsoka and Sabine. This is called Fallen Jedi, by the way. That's the title of the episode. Sabine's getting all of her Mandalorian stuff on. She seems a little nervous. The best thing about this episode is that they don't have too much time for this terrible dialogue. I just got to be real. Ahsoka and Sabine, it doesn't work. I feel like the Sabine actress is doing a fine job. I feel like the way Rosario portrays Ahsoka is awful. It is bland. It is lifeless. It is just passionless. I don't get it, and I don't like it. It's hard to imagine that these people have known each other for so long. But she's once again reiterating what we just heard 3 minutes ago. Hey, if it comes down to it, right, you can't let them get to Thrawn. Hu Yang gets attacked. They also waited until he was done with repairs to the ship effectively, and power was restored before they attacked him. We have a little fight scene here between this droid and Hu Yang, who Hu Yang does have some moves. And then that leads to him getting his head knocked into something. The power goes out. It alerts Ahsoka and Sabine. I guess all that awareness of what's going on, the fact that Hu Yang's banging on the hull, nothing alerted the Jedi and the Mandalorian until the power went out. And then that was the one thing, even though you got a droid working on the power, that was the one thing that told them they really need to check it out. So they go out there, they have a fight. It's not bad. It's okay. You get to see Sabine being a Mandalorian, getting to use her blasters, use her different weapons, use everything in her arsenal to take down some of these generic bad guys. Ahsoka does her thing. There is one part where Ahsoka uses the Force to put somebody in front of someone else. Let's see if we can watch this. It's right around here as Sabine is getting into it. This guy, luckily she's got that fancy Beskar armor. Ahsoka used the Force to kind of block the blast. So I thought that was an interesting use. I think that was good. I think that was pretty decently done. If you got a Jedi, you got to do things like that a little bit more often. But they kill everybody. They want Hu Yang to fix the transmitter, and they are about to go hunt down Baylan and Shin and the map. Hu Yang tells them, hey, you guys, you should stay together. You are always better that way. And for some reason, they do not listen. Now, Hera just decides after not getting permission to do all these things, she's just going to leave. She's going to take the Ghost, a couple X-Wing fighters. She's going to leave and go try to find what happened to her friends. Again, it's a question in Disney Star Wars, how long it takes to go places in hyperspace. Seems like it never takes any time at all for anyone. They just jump to a system instantaneously, even though it should take, we're talking about 7, 8, 9, 10 days to get, from one part of the galaxy to another. Let's just forget about that because this is Disney Star Wars. For some reason, on this thing, she doesn't know what happened to her friend. She doesn't know what happened to anybody. She brings her son, Jason. I don't fucking know why. I really don't know what sense that makes to bring Jason when you don't know what you're getting into. But we also get, I think this guy's name is Carson. I forget his name, but he's the guy that shows up everywhere. This X-Wing pilot is fucking everywhere in every damn Mandiverse show. But he goes to help Hera. Baylan, I'm going to be real. Ray Stevenson as Baylan is the best character in this show in terms of person by far. He's intense. He's a little bit mysterious. He's intimidating. It's acted well. I don't know if some of the stuff he's given to say is always the best, but he, by far, he steals the show. And, R.I.P. Ray Stevenson, I don't know what their plan is for this character. I don't know what their plan was before this, if he was going to survive through this season or not. Who knows? But he absolutely is the most compelling character in this show, and it's not even close. They set this thing up to find the hyperspace coordinates, and Ahsoka and Sabine get stopped by Shin and by Marok. This line right here is just about as cringe as it gets. I'm going to let this play out in real time.
Going somewhere?
It's like, holy shit. That's what this whole show has dialogue like that. That just takes way too long. As if it's supposed to be just incredibly epic or whatever. Okay, I get it. Take the cloak off, jump down. There's just so much time between what happens and that line that's not necessary, and it comes off as really cringe. But obviously, it's a rematch. Shin and Sabine do their thing. Sabine starts shooting her. She's deflecting. They're going to have an altercation. And Marok and Ahsoka are going to have an altercation. I wish I could show you a little bit extended fight scenes of this. I'm going to be real. Rosario Dawson in this fight, they did not show much. I feel like Rosario Dawson as a fighter in this, in terms of her as Ahsoka fighting, it's very slow. And I don't think it comes across very well with Rosario Dawson specifically in live action. I just think it looks slow and ungainly, and some of these lightsaber fight scenes we've seen with her don't look very good. Marok ends up going down in the most stupid way possible. Now, we have seen this before with a character like, I don't know, Maul at the end of Rebels, but Marok starts doing his spinning lightsaber thing in Ahsoka. All it takes is, one slice. We've seen this with Ahsoka before with an Inquisitor, right? So this is what they're setting up once again, even though it's pretty lame. That's it. Just the one slice. That's all you need. Even though the stupid spinning Inquisitor lightsaber is going. But the real question is, who's Marok? Now, as that happens, Sabine and Shin are engaged in this now. They've engaged in lightsaber after Sabine got knocked into a tree. Now, who is Marok, though? That's the question. All the theories. Marok is green smoke. Marok is a J.J. Abrams smoke monster. Now, I guess it's supposed to be implied maybe that Morgan Elsbeth and the Night Sister magic, maybe that is what is going on when it comes to Marok. But there you go. Your Marok theory is wrong. And Shin realizes that she is now outnumbered, obviously, with Ahsoka defeating him. Sabine says, we should split up. Ahsoka, go get the map. They could have easily finished Shin off. Ahsoka is so stupid for going to get the map instead of just taking this moment to finish off Shin and then taking Sabine and going. You just had the stay together thing. It's retarded. I can't believe they did that. But Morgan is going to go up to the ring, the hyperspace ring, to wait for Balon, and Balon is protecting this. This is a decent little standoff speech. He talks about how you and your master are linked. You both cause death and destruction everywhere, talking about Anakin Skywalker. And essentially, he is trying to say, I know what it takes to get the job done. He doesn't get into too many details of why he's willing to help bring Thrawn back to galaxy other than to create, you must first destroy. So still a lot of mystery behind why Balon does these things. But then they have their altercation. Takes a very long time to get started again, trying to go with the samurai feel for seemingly every single fight, I guess. But that's what it was. They're trying to they have like a ticking time clock, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's continuing to go. We're almost there. And Balon is trying to protect the map from Ahsoka. Now, one thing I don't understand through this entire thing is why doesn't Ahsoka use the Force to try to pull the map to her? Why doesn't Ahsoka just try to destroy it with any chance she gets? Like she said she would do. Those things don't really make sense to me. But Shin is able to get the best of Sabine. Sabine tries to use the Force. It does not really work. Shin taunts her, you have no power. But Sabine is able to then use a dart to kind of distract her. Shin uses a different, like a gas grenade or something, to escape. That's kind of the resolution to the Sabine fight. But then Ahsoka is finally able to get her hands on the map. Right here. Again, she could have destroyed it right here. She could have tried to force pull it way before this. For some reason, she didn't. She had to grab it like this, and it hurt. And now that she's in kind of this weakened state, Balon is able to get the upper hand on her and start driving her back. Balon, very powerful swings, very powerful strikes. The one cool thing about his fighting style. Has her basically pinned until Shin, where's Shin at? We can find her. Shin comes back. And that lets Ahsoka know that, well, if Shin is back, that means Sabine is dead. I shouldn't have left her. I shouldn't have done that. She thinks Sabine is dead. That doesn't last for much longer. Ahsoka knocks Shin out with a Force shove, and Sabine appears and grabs the map and says, don't do it, I'll destroy the map. Balon calls her bluff. Balon knocks Ahsoka off this cliff. Let's see if we can get a shot of this right here.
Away from her!
She falls down. Sabine, very upset. Balon is able to convince her, hey, why don't you just come with me? You're not like her. She would have destroyed it. You wouldn't because you want to see your friend. He says, I will help you find your friend. We will see Ezra if you go with me willingly. I promise you no harm will come to you. I think Baelon's a trustworthy dude, but why would Sabine do this? She's so desperate to see Ezra that she is willing to let Thrawn return. The very thing that Ezra sacrificed himself for, to protect the galaxy from Thrawn, she's willing to let that happen to see him again. And Baelon is very, very convincing. Again, I like Ray Stevenson as Baelon. I really do like that character. As soon as she gives him the map and he starts the upload again, Shin tries to kill her and force choke her. Baelon protects her, says, no, I gave her my word. Unlike Ahsoka, I'll actually keep mine. So now the hyperspace ring is ready. They can jump to hyperspace to find Thrawn, go to another galaxy to find Thrawn. It's at that moment when Hera and the Ghost show up with the 5 X-Wings, and, you know, they make contact with Hu Yang saying, hey, we need to, we need to stop them, stop that hyperspace ring. The hyperspace ring, Morgan says, fuck you, we're jumping to hyperspace anyway. And this is the end result from them jumping into hyperspace with the Ghost and the X-Wings right there. I don't know how people are going to explain this and try to make it fit in The Last Jedi and like all this shit. They're not immediately blown to pieces, but they are very disrupted when this happens. And essentially, I think all the X-Wings, except the one dude we know, are destroyed. The Ghost survives. Jason says, Mom, I have a bad feeling about this, because he is Force sensitive. But then we get to the end, right? And this is where we know Ahsoka's in the water. Is she dead? Is she alive? She wakes up in the world between worlds. And for people that didn't watch Rebels, you're not going to understand what this is. It looks a little bit different, looks a little bit more cosmic than it appeared in Rebels, but this is absolutely, right, the world between worlds. And although this was used to save Ahsoka, to save Ahsoka's life, even though she died in her duel to Darth Vader, Ezra was in the world between worlds, saved Ahsoka. It's not technically time travel. It's like a point in the universe where you can see a lot of different things that may or may not be meaningful to you in a certain way. Dave Filoni's tried to describe it before without being too specific, but this is the world between worlds. The question is, who is the person that's there with her? And we'll let this play out a little bit. That little bit, mysterious voice, hello, Snips. I'm sure a lot of people got very, very excited for this part.
Master?
We didn't expect to see you so soon.
Anakin.
You do get the Vader theme at the end, which is a little bit ominous. Maybe not everything's going to turn out good. Maybe not everything's as it seems. We shall see. In terms of what they're going to do with this, I don't know. Now, I had predicted episode 5 would be the whole big Anakin episode, which it looks like that's what it's going to be. That's directed by Dave Filoni. I didn't know they were going to drop the Anakin bomb at the end of this episode. I think that, so take this part away from this episode. I think this episode overall is okay. I think there's some good fighting stuff. I think there's some good Baelon stuff. I think there's still some cringe dialogue, but for the most part, there was so much action that they weren't able to have so much cringe dialogue to make it terrible. This is by far the best episode. But regardless of what happened in the beginning, this is the only thing that people are going to talk about is bringing Hayden back as Anakin in whatever way this is, right? This isn't Force Ghost necessarily. This is, he exists right now in the world between worlds in some way, and we don't know. I think an actual important question to ask here is this real? Like, Ahsoka falls off a fucking cliff. Is she having some sort of near-death experience? Is this a hallucination? Is this a dream? Is this even Anakin in any way? Is she actually somehow been transported to the world between worlds, but this is someone who's trying to trick her? Is this a manifestation of the dark? Like, there's a lot of things this could be that are not the real Anakin, that it's going to be really wild. It's going to be really fucking wild when next week they reveal the truth of what this is, and it turns out it actually wasn't Anakin or something like that. And I'm not fucking around. I'm just saying, I think that's something that is likely going to happen. This is not Anakin Skywalker. This is not a Force ghost of Anakin in my mind. This is not the real Anakin Skywalker. This is either a vision or a dream sequence or somebody doing something. That's what I think, but I guess we'll all have to wait till next week to find out. But the pop that it got is exactly what they wanted. They wanted to tug at your heartstrings and use those member berries. Remember at the end of Mandalorian Season 2, they brought Luke Skywalker out, and I said the same fucking thing, that a lot of people are going to be falling all over this regardless of whatever happened in the beginning of the episode or the beginning of the season. People love the character of Anakin Skywalker. They got excited to see him in Obi-Wan, and he got destroyed in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anakin has always been used as a way to make Ahsoka a more important character than she really is, to make you care about Ahsoka more than you should. It's literally the way that they're using this. The only thing that is important about Ahsoka in actuality was that she's connected to Anakin. And they try all this other stuff to get you to care about her, and you don't. It all comes down to her relationship with Anakin because people care about Anakin Skywalker. And once again, just like we saw with Clone Wars Season 7, them trying to tie her completely into what happened in Revenge of the Sith, now we have another Anakin appearance to force you to try to care about the Ahsoka character. We'll see how this is handled. I have been disappointed so many times by Disney's Star Wars. I can't tell you that this really made me feel a certain way other than I knew how everybody else would react. But I do think you're going to see a massive, massive push of people celebrating this and praising Dave Filoni for this moment, this one moment right here at the end of episode 4, which, to be fair, was the best episode. Where does it go from here? I guess we'll see. Still some dumb things, still some things that make absolutely no sense. I don't know why Ahsoka didn't try to destroy it. I don't know why she didn't try to force grab it or destroy it with her lightsaber before she could, finally get past Balon and grab it. Anyway, it doesn't really matter too much at this point. What does matter is this was episode 4. What do you guys think about it? I think it's going to be the most highly praised episode so far. Will it get more people to watch it? Because so far it's been a ratings failure. That's also a big question. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.